What he'll talk about in the State of the Union will demonstrate that we're taking steps to put our fiscal house in order.
The planned announcement of a 3-year spending freeze on many domestic programs hasn't made either side too happy.
You're talking about trying to cut $250 billion out of the budget.
Well, first of all,
I have to tell you, it sounds completely insane.
if my two daughters, when they were in college, had come home and said at the end of their freshman year, I charged $50,000 on my credit card this year, but you know, I'm going to freeze that level for the next 3 years. I don't know that I've been very impressed.
It's a move to the middle and a way for the president to get some applause from both sides of the aisle during Wednesday's State of the Union address.
And some of the things we propose are things that actually should get some strong bipartisan support.
It only affects a small portion of the budget.
It's certainly not going to solve the problem. Much more has to be done, as the White House has acknowledged.
But the question is whether it will be perceived as a public relations move in the wake of the Massachusetts election, or if it can foster real bipartisan support.
Just a 3-year spending freeze, frankly, won't do it, although I think it's good to do.
The president has borrowed an approach from Senator Evan Bayh, a fiscally conservative Democrat who has long pushed for balanced budgets.
There's real momentum. People are finally starting to get it.
Last year, he voted against the Democratic budget.
I've been a fiscal conservative throughout my career, Chris. It's nothing personal to the president.
It was after repeated meetings on the subject, including on Air Force One.
He called me up to his personal office. He wanted to talk about the deficit, the budget.
Both Senator Bayh and fiscally conservative House members known as Blue Dogs have been hesitant about spending levels, but got promises from the president at a meeting a year ago that he seems to be keeping.
Today's meeting was the meeting that the president made verbal commitments. We've got to start putting some dates certain on when we start tightening down these things.
With a viable path forward for health care reform unclear, it's the budget that's taking center stage. It only requires 50 votes to pass, and the president wants to make deficit reduction a big part of his second-year agenda.
Today, I'm pledging to cut the deficit we inherited by half by the end of my first term in office.
An example of that commitment was when he summoned the influential House Budget Committee chairman, John Spratt, to a one-on-one meeting in the Oval Office after rumors circulated that the congressman would retire.
He weighed in and said, I need you on the team. We've got big budget issues coming up, and I hope you'll decide to carry on.
Mr. Spratt is still on the team, and how he and other members of Congress respond to the idea will indicate whether the president can accomplish a key second-year goal.
My sense is that he is sincere about this. He knows it's a problem. He's faced with a very difficult situation, having inherited a recession which required one response, but then a long-term challenge that requires a diametrically opposite response.
And we've got to pivot and deal with the long-term debt threat. That sounds contradictory. Unfortunately, economics is often contradictory.